Happy Sunday evening, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of Rogues Gallery Live. Welcome back, and like I said, it's a very special edition tonight as we are doing a Batman open spoiler discussion video today. And of course, we talked about the Batman a little bit the other night on Rogues Gallery, but of course, there was a few people that hadn't seen it up until that point. But now I believe, correct, we've all seen it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
All right, I can see a lot of head shaking, so that's good. Anyway, so again, this is going to be a spoiler show. So if you have not seen this show, I'm going to leave that banner down there so you guys know it's a spoiler, so you can't yell at us too much. But anyway, we are going to talk about this film in depth tonight and just kind of shoot the breeze with all of you fine folks in the chat. And I'm curious as to what all of you thought as well as you watch the film. Now, I know a couple of us have seen it twice. I have seen it twice. I think Dan has seen it twice. And then also Eric has seen it twice. Mm-hmm. And so obviously we enjoyed the film quite a bit to have seen it a second time. But anyway, we're going to talk about it tonight. So I do want to do introductions real quick, right over here to my, whatever that right or left, whatever it is. Eric B is in the house. Hey, Eric.
Hey, guys. Nice to be here tonight. Hope everyone's doing good. And technically, I only saw it 1 3/4 of the time. Not two.
That's right. Poor Eric, unfortunately, he went to the wrong theater the first time, and which was an honest mistake because it had the same name, right? The same name, the same theater.
I was telling you, I thought I only missed 5 minutes of the movie. It turns out when I watched it the second time, I missed like a good 20 minutes the first time around.
Nice. Wow, so you did miss a lot. Yeah, you did miss a lot. So anyway, thank you, Eric, for being here. That's awesome. We also have Mr. Jeff Morris in the house. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, hope everybody's doing well. I've only seen it once.
Only once. Are you going to
let it sit a little bit?
You're what?
Usually if I see something again really fast after seeing it again, I pick it apart. So
okay, so you want to wait a couple weeks. I got you. That makes sense. We also have with us from Secret Sanctuary, Mr. Jeff Delaney in the house.
Howdy, y'all. I look strangely filtered tonight, like I'm in a fog. I don't know why, but
you do. You're a little backlit or something. I don't know. We can still see you.
Do you have the glamour? You have your glamour lighting on?
Yeah, I do. I think, though, it's because there's too much sunlight coming in through the blinds there, and that's what's messing it up.
It's that TikTok no filter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Very famous right now. So there you go. Well, thanks for being here. Also from Wayne Manor North, we have Mr. Dan Default in the house.
Hey, everybody. Good to be here. Really been looking forward to this chat. This is going to be cool.
Absolutely. And for the very first time on our show, we're really glad to have him. This is Mr. Boyer. He is a good friend of mine right here in our own hometown. And it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Great. Thanks for having me. I just saw it for the first time yesterday. I was a little worried about the light on my head, but I can see I'm in good company here.
If my head is missing, me too.
You have nothing to worry about. This is not a glamour show for sure in any means here on the channel. That is for sure. But you got to see it in IMAX yesterday, which is great.
Yeah.
What did you think of the IMAX experience on that screen? I thought it was just insanely good.
It was good.
It was really good. I was a little worried during the previews. It was so loud you couldn't hear anybody what they were saying, but the movie itself, you could hear everything.
And the
rumbling was awesome.
Did you get the rumble? Yeah, the rumble on your seats.
Yeah.
I thought that was incredible.
It was almost too much because I had to go to the bathroom really bad after drinking my Diet Coke, and I didn't want to.
I should have given you a warning that you should not drink any pop during the show at all, or else you will go. I did. The second viewing, I did go to the bathroom once, so at least I was able to know what I missed while I was gone. But if you're not like Dan, you said you had a nice adult beverage before the show.
Oh yeah, I had a 22-ounce beer right before the movie. Bad idea.
Yeah, it's big mistake. I want to say hello to folks real quick as they're rolling in, and then we'll get started on the discussion. So we got Bane the Big Guy is here. Says I broke Batman. That's pretty cool. Nathan Chaffman is here. Happy Sunday fun day, everybody. I literally just got home from seeing the movie for the first time, and I only slept through a little bit. Well, see, I have heard some people say that they slept a little bit or it was too long. We'll talk about that tonight. Justin says, good evening to the 6 or 7 of us logged in early. Well, I appreciate everybody being here early. We now have 81 people watching right now. Thank you guys for being here. Please hit that like button because YouTube does share this video to others, and it lets other people find the video that we are live. Hey, Chris and Logan, it's nice to hear you. Going to see it Wednesday. But I know you said you had your doubts the other night, so we'll see. Dirty Loki said, I just got back from the theater. Not going to lie, Christian Bale is still my favorite Batman, but the film was still awesome. It's awesome. Got Wallace in the house. Nick Veda's collection. Dan Default just says, grab your popcorn. It's almost Batman spoiler chat time. I love it. Brotherhood member Borg Cube 1 of 2. Ken J is here. You've got Jeff Morris looking like Silent Bob. Well, I like that. That's great. I like it. Let's see. We've got B. Alex Thompson. Brotherhood member Paula is here. Hey, Paula. We got Slim Boss. Lane Kramer. I just watched the Batman this afternoon. That's great. Wallace is saying I'm going to see it again next weekend. We got Brotherhood member Den is in the house. KohnHead Collectibles. Check out his review. He just did a review recently. He sent it to me, and I just watched it before the show. Vane 21 is here. We got Ryan. I saw it Friday, going again tomorrow night. I love that. Josue is here. Yeah, we're going to spoil it all tonight. Late night trip. Big hit, highly recommended. Yeah, that new backdrop is a work in progress. So it's step number 1. We've got Mr. Ford Doug. This movie was way too long. We'll talk about that. Hey, Ro Moreno's here. Kickback just left the theater. Amazing movie. I loved how many Easter eggs in relations to Arkham games. Yep, coming to Chicago. That Gotham was phenomenal. That's awesome. Hey, we have a $1.99 super chat. Thank you very much, Jason. Batman equals Bruce Wayne. Yeah, it's the first spoiler of the night. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for the super chat. That's awesome. Josh, did you really see it 5 times? That's crazy. How many hours is that? That's a lot of hours. What is it? 15 hours, right?
Yeah. Let me do my math. Hold on. Yep.
Yeah, 15. Johnny is here. Justin is here. Hey, Brad's here. Batman Tube. Interested to see how this interactive chat goes. Us too. Hopefully it's not too much of a train wreck. We'll see. Cosmic Fortress. I loved it. Can't wait to see you guys how we think about it. Thank you very much. See if I missed anybody. I feel like Ken says, don't feel bad, Eric. My dad just used to take us to the movies whenever, walk in during the middle, and then stay to catch the beginning.
I've done that before in the past. Yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, anything but sparkly is correct, Paula, for sure. Rich, there's an app that'll let you know when it's okay to use the bathroom during the movie. Hey, that'd be pretty great.
That's cool.
That's funny.
Bat B says, what's up, Bat fam? Saw the movie twice in one day. Wow, twice in one day.
Wow.
That's dedication. I don't know if I do that.
Oh boy. Sorry.
That's all right.
That was me.
It's rewatching the intro. Let's see. Sam Blake is here. We've got Kevin, seen it again Tuesday. Bex is in the house. I left for the bathroom break during the funeral scene, so I don't think I missed too much. It depends on if you missed the whole funeral scene.
That's right.
Yeah. I think that's when I went too. So.
Yeah, there's quite a bit that happened. It's weird too, talking about the trailers, Justin. In IMAX, there are no trailers, but when I saw it in town, there were a whole bunch of trailers.
That's why I missed more of the movie than what I thought. There were no trailers in the beginning.
Yeah.
Same here.
My IMAX, there was.
There were trailers in yours?
Yeah, there was.
We
about
saw it
10.
at the same place. That's so weird. I wonder why. Maybe because ours was opening night, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
But I kind of love that. I love that there was nothing. It just started.
It was kind of cool. Although I love seeing the final Morbius trailer on the big screen.
Yeah, they did show that. That was really cool in the one here. Austin T is in the house. Ghazi says 1 a.m. here in the UK. Thank you for our international audience. So again, if I missed you, I apologize. But if you guys would also help me kind of keep track of the chat, if there's any good questions or things that come up. So again, we want this to be an interactive chat with you guys tonight. Again, it is a spoiler show. So again, if you're just joining us, I'll try to say that from time to time that this is a spoiler and the title does say spoiler. So we're going to do spoilers. But yeah, if you guys have questions or want to discuss something, please make sure you leave it in the chat because we'd like it to be as interactive as possible. So obviously, people have brought up the time. I think we kind of hit on it a little bit, but now that Jeff and Jeff and Damon have seen the movie since we went live on Wednesday, what did you guys think about the length? We kind of talked about it maybe being a little bit too long, but what do you guys think?
Well, I mean, I think everyone, those who like the movie and those who don't like the movie, agree that it's about a half an hour too long. And that's, to me, one of the big, one of my big problems with it. And I have a lot of other thoughts, but if you're just talking about the time, I think it's a half an hour too long.
Okay. What about you, Damon? What did you think? Did you think it was about the right length?
No, I agree. I think it was about a half hour too long. And then there was about a half hour they could have cut out there. It was a little dry and a bit of a spot.
Okay. How about you, Jeff?
I'm sure that they could have edited some out, but I still wanted to see more. I kind of was surprised when it was over and thinking I was feeling like it was going to be longer because it didn't seem like it dragged that much to me. I don't know.
I think especially for me seeing it the second time, and again, I do want to ask Dan and Eric, you saw it only once, right?
Twice.
Oh yeah, you did see. Okay, so you guys both saw it twice. Me personally, I loved it way more the second time.
Yeah.
Did you guys feel the same?
So I'm like Jeff this way. I didn't feel like it was too long. I was actually the same thing. I was surprised once it got to the end that it was over. I thought it was going to keep going.
How about you, Dan?
Yeah, I kind of fall more into that camp. Although I feel the way you did, Chris, I came out of the theater loving it the first time. Like, that's my idea of a gritty, realistic Batman. I loved it, right? The second time seeing it, I kind of loved it almost for different reasons. I was able, because I knew what was coming and when, I was able to kind of focus on trying to pick out Easter eggs. And, I have thoughts on those as well. And it was kind of enjoyable, but for almost, some different reasons at least. So it was a blast. I didn't really think it was true. I mean, could they have edited a few minutes here and there? Yes, I guess, but not a lot. I can't see major chunks. Yeah. I'd be hard pressed for them to pull a half hour out of the movie.
Do you feel like it went by? Do you feel like it went by quicker the second time? Like I feel like
for sure.
I do too. Like I feel like it went by quicker.
Yep.
Overall, for sure.
Yep. No question.
But I think a lot of people, at least in the community, it seems like they do feel like it could have been 15, 20 minutes shorter, but it does make me want to see more. But I think that's where we're going to get more for those HBO Max shows. I mean, I think that it's setting it up for those. Obviously, there's going to be an Arkham show, which I do think that they'll focus on more like CD characters probably.
We got to see Batman in those shows, though. I hope it's not like Gotham, where it's a Batman show with no Batman.
That's the thing, though. Getting Pattinson to do a TV show, like I don't know if they would. Although TV's different now, it's not the same, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just my thought.
And then, of course, they've also announced an Oswald show as well. So that'll be interesting too. Although they haven't filmed any of those yet, so it'll be. I'm assuming it'll bridge a gap between those and the sequel.
Right.
But I don't know. Well, Jeff Delaney, I'm curious with what you said just a minute ago. Like, so you obviously have some issues with some things. So let's get into them. What do you got?
Oh, not as many as you might think.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10.
Okay. All right.
But my biggest problem with it, and it's kind of funny because we learned months ago that we weren't going to get the origin story, that we were going to leap into year 2. And I thought, wow, that's cool because we've seen that a million times. And who needs to see that again? And then I'm watching the movie and I'm realizing I'm not connecting to this Batman as much because I'm not getting the origin story through Matt Reeves' lens. He has such an interesting take on Gotham City and Batman that's different from other filmmakers before him that I feel like I want to see how he would have done the origin story of Batman. I watched Batman Begins again today, and it's an hour in that movie before you see Batman.
Yep.
Yeah.
A
Right.
full hour.
Right.
So they really developed everything. It's not just, the death of his parents. It's how he learned to fight and how the costume came together and batarangs and the tumbler and, everything was developed really, really well so that when he finally gets into costume, you really care about his journey. Whereas with Pattinson, since we're plunked down into year 2, I didn't have the emotional pull that I have had with other interpretations of the character. And he also, and this is not Pattinson's fault, this is, Matt Reeves, and this is the screenplay. I felt he was very one note throughout the whole movie. And I kind of wanted him to be enraged in some parts where he was, he's very kind of a contained rage, I guess. But it just felt very one note for me for the whole 3 hours. And I wanted more variation from him. But the big problem to me, it was so weird because no one else is talking about it. So it's got to be just me. But I missed seeing that origin story through Matt Reeves' lens.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said. That's how I felt going into it the very first time as well. Like I said, it took me until the half of the movie to where I connected to liking him as Batman. And then, like you said, everything else, like how, where did he get the costume from? Where did he learn how to fight? It's like.
There's that throwaway line where Alfred says that he was able to teach him to fight. And I'm like, oh God, are we going back to that idea that Batman learned all his fighting skills from his butler?
Yeah.
To me, that was like.
Well, they did hint that he was also there like a bodyguard because when he said the parents died, he was like, it was my job to protect them. So maybe he was like some type of bodyguard figure.
Yeah, that's what they allude to in that. And like Bex here said, I'm happy they didn't do the origin story again. It's like, how many times can we see his parents die? And I personally thought it was refreshing that we didn't see it, just because we have seen it so many times. Although I do agree with Jeff, it would be cool to see his take, Matt Reeves' take on it. And maybe we will at some point. And I want to piggyback on what you said about Pattinson being kind of one note. And that has been brought up by a lot of different reviewers and things like that. And I do think that is true, but I think it is intentional that he is one note. I feel like Batman is the same as Bruce at this point, but I think that will change over time because in this film, he was, like I said, he was only about vengeance. He did not, if you noticed at the beginning of the film when he's beating up those thugs, and he wasn't there protecting that guy.
Right.
He was there getting vengeance on those other people. Yeah. He could care less about the guy. But then at the end, as it came full circle, he realized, okay, I need to care about the people. The vengeance had to change. So I thought that was really interesting. But I feel like since this is only year 2, it was the whole point of that. It's an arc for him. It's a change for him, going from one note to, I think, in the second and third films. Now, if he's one note in the second and third film, then that might be a whole different story, and that could be an acting thing. But I do feel like, do you guys feel like it's intentional that was done on purpose to show that he was exactly the same?
Absolutely.
Because he said he was tired and exhausted from those 2 years.
Okay, but all right. So listen. So all right. So I was okay with that because, like I said, it felt kind of like the Batman animated series. But if that's the way he is, because he wants vengeance for his parents, his parents died when he was a kid. So is it going back to he's like this his whole entire life, where he's just been depressed for the last 20 something, however old he is in the movie years? Has he always been that way? I mean, I know it's a comic book movie.
I think so.
He's always been that way.
I think he's been that way. I think he's in his mid-20s. He's just past teenager, and he's found a way to channel his emotion and his feelings and the vengeance at first, right? I think that whole shot, and I know we're talking about the movie out of sequence, but toward the end when they show him leading the people through the water in the garden, that is both a metaphor and just a literal not explanation, but depiction of him turning the corner on helping people. To Chris's point, for sure.
I feel like that scene, especially the second viewing, was much more of an emotional hit for me.
Yeah.
Seeing that and understanding, okay, that was it was really the moment when the Joker goon says vengeance.
Yeah.
That was the moment that flipped the lid for him. I
could see he did that really well just with his eyes.
Yeah.
Like when he said vengeance, I'm vengeance, or whatever it was, the line with vengeance. But Robert Pattinson, I mean, I knew immediately. He was like, this can't be all I do.
You're right, Paula.
What I like about that scene is it kind of tied into the whole the death of his parents, because throughout the whole, at some point there's I forget which politician or person it was, but
in the beginning, the mayor.
Yeah, what's the one who he had? So now the son was left. There was like a son, and so the dad.
Yeah, the mayor.
The mayor.
Yeah, so he's like, so the whole time, like he shows up at the funeral or even at the crime scene, he's like almost like it's like reminding him of when his parents died, and he's almost like afraid to like go up to the kid or even like approach the kid, give any like grievance or anything like that. And then towards the end, when he did snap into that like hero mode, the first person he goes and helps in the water is like the little kid. So now he's like holding the kid by the hand and helping everybody. So
yep,
it was a cool moment. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it wasn't even necessarily that he was seeking out the kid, but the kid was the one that was brave enough to go. And they were all afraid. They were all afraid to go with him. But then the kid is like, okay. And then they're like, okay, if the kid will go, we'll all go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which was really powerful, I thought. And some people, there's been some like internet rumor speculation that people think that could eventually be become Robin. And
yeah.
I don't see that happening because, well, he's not orphaned. He still has a mom, and so I don't see that playing out. I'm kind of on the fence, or I'm kind of on the side of I don't want a Robin in that universe yet.
I thought it might be the kid in the subway fight.
Well, and that's
the one that was the one that was being initiated into the game.
So he plays Tim Drake in the Titan series.
Huh.
That kid. And he supposedly, because I was actually reading an article today about it, he got the Batman role before he got the Titans role. So while he was filming the Batman, while he was filming the Titans, he had to keep it a secret because he got signed non-disclosure agreement, whatever, that he couldn't mention anything. So he got the Batman role first, and then he was doing Titans after that.
So it's interesting. And again, B. Alex Thompson brought that up earlier. And so it's a possibility. I thought that was really neat the way they did the half makeup on him, because it showed kind of his conflict. He's new, right. Or maybe that was just still like, you don't get all the full face paint until you've done the task or whatever. But I still feel like it was his duality of potentially becoming a Robin type character in the future. I think that could happen, but I don't think they would do that. Do you? If he's Robin on Titans, I can't imagine him being Robin in the movie too.
I don't know.
It's different universes, right?
I think the face paint was just he has this moment where he can be good or bad.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's really a Robin or not Robin thing.
Yeah, which I think like even that shows more duality than what Batman had, because again, he was just very
right
one note, because he was vengeance, and that's all he was. But it's interesting. So I have to ask, what did you guys think of the Batmobile sound?
It was awesome.
It was cool.
Yeah. I didn't think it was ever going to stop.
Yeah.
When it started, I thought, dang.
It was crazy. The difference in IMAX versus my hometown theater. Like, it was so much better in IMAX.
Yeah, same here.
So much better. What'd you think, Damon?
Yeah, there was quite a growl to it that shook the whole. It shook my seat when it was first introduced. That was a pretty cool moment when it was first.
During that scene, there's a moment where he's like scared too. Like you can see like there's like fear in his face. I think it was like when the trailer skids in front of the car. He's not like a fully confident Batman. Like I said, he's still like year two.
So awesome. Yeah, everybody's loving the Batmobile scene. Clearly, would you put it up there with one of the best car chase scenes of all time? It was fantastic.
It was very realistic, definitely.
Yeah.
My wife made reference to she said something about feels like we're watching a Fast and Furious movie through that car scene.
Did she feel like it was out of place?
No.
was awesome. I just loved it. I don't know how Penguin survived the car flip.
He's so fat he got suctioned into the car and as it was rolling over.
He was his own airbag.
Yeah.
Let's talk about him. Colin Farrell. Did you see any Colin Farrell in that? Like, it was just unbelievable that's him.
No, that's what I kept thinking when you mentioned the TV series. He's going to have to constantly put on that makeup just for the TV series during filming again. It's crazy.
He's a big Batman fan though. Like he was so pumped to get that role. I've watched a lot of interviews with him, and he's a fan from back in the day. Like he talked about growing up with the Burton films and loving Christian Bale, and so it's really interesting to hear his take. But it's just funny how he's just so lost in there. Like you don't see any Colin Farrell whatsoever, even with the accent. But what do you guys think overall with the Penguin as a character?
I like the version of the Penguin.
Sorry, Damon, go ahead.
I think
I like this version of the Penguin. It reminds me of the Arkham game Penguin.
Yeah, very good, very good. Very kind of like traditional mob boss, which I love. That kind of old, I don't know, De Niro-y type, I guess you could say maybe. I don't know. I like it.
I like that they finally brought in the Iceberg Lounge into the movies. That was great.
Cool.
Yeah, and did you guys like that it wasn't just like a ritzy? I mean, it's always portrayed like this, ritzy place with the ice shard thing in the middle of it. Did you like that it was a little bit more realistic, more grimy?
It fit the film, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Nothing campy about it.
Jeff
the
Morris,
whole.
Sorry, Jeff Morris. What were you going to say about the Penguin?
Oh, I mean, Riddler and Penguin. I felt like he did a really good job taking those characters that could, were typically comedic and funny and almost like an animated character, and made them really menacing and creepy and scary. And I never heard Colin. I expected to recognize his voice in that, but I mean, if I had not known it was him, you would never know it was him.
No. And he was one of my favorite characters in the whole film. I just really enjoyed him.
Yep.
It was funny at times, and I thought that was interesting. Johnny, thank you very much. $1.99 super chat. If you think IMAX was cool, try watching it in DBOX. So tell me about that. Do you guys know what that is?
Yeah, I've done that. It's also called 4D.
Okay.
So the seats shake. They're quite a bit larger. It almost kind of reminds me of a cockpit seat in like a 747.
Wow.
You kind of elevate it up on a platform a bit. It's kind of an oversized seat. But not only does it rumble, it'll kind of side to side, back and forth. You have in front of you, in the rail in front of you, there are jets, so it'll shoot like a little bit of smoke, or like dry ice kind of smoke, or it'll mist water on you, that kind of stuff.
That's pretty neat. Yeah,
it's like a Disney ride experience.
Right. Yeah. I've been in some theaters like that where, like it's like more like 3D films, like animated, amusement park things. And then like the seats move. That's cool though. Although my seat was moving just fine with it.
That'll keep you awake through the movie.
Yeah, no kidding.
I can't imagine it for 3 hours. I saw one of the, I think it was Infinity War.
Thank you, Johnny.
I saw in D-Box, and by the end I was ready to be done. I was like, okay, because you're just getting constantly jolted left, right, back, forth. I don't know.
Well, I'm just thinking of like my wife gets motion sick. I can't even she'd be chucking left and right. She'd be miserable. It'd be awful. It'd be awful. Yeah. Ahmed says, "What was your favorite shot of the scene?" Mine was the fight in the dark, and the only light is from the gunshots. Amazing scene. And they actually shot it that way, which was pretty cool. Pattinson was talking about the fact that they, it was just dark, and they were literally only going off the sparks from the special effects. So it was pretty crazy. But
actually, I haven't dug into it at all, but I did hear, and I don't know, Jeff Delaney, if you know, supposedly that's taken from a sequence in the comics. I don't know which book, but that's supposed to be like almost shot for shot from a Batman comic. And
I don't know off the top of my head, but it wouldn't surprise me a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about comic book influences. Obviously, clearly there was the Long Halloween very, very prevalent in this film. Batman Year One.
Yep.
Clearly, also 0 Year was featured in this. Did you guys see any other nods specifically that really stood out to you?
Hush. It was
They
on the
mentioned the
screen.
Elliots, yeah.
Yeah, Hush was mentioned. Maybe a little Dark Victory, possibly. I'm not sure. I know specifically Long Halloween was talked about by Matt Reeves about being a major influence, and Long Halloween has been, even in Dark Knight, it was, quite a bit of the storyline was featured in that film.
Because of the whole like how the Riddler included the whole, your parents are corrupted. I really thought they were going to go into the Court of Owls type theme.
Well, that's gonna be the next film.
Yeah.
They have to have put those weapons on his gauntlets for that reason.
Right. I mean, they were exactly like Talon's.
God, I mean, that is right from Talon's character design. That has to be, man, it makes all the sense in the world. It just fits in that world too. You can see it just fitting really well.
And again, that's something that we haven't seen. Like, we haven't seen necessarily the R&D side of things. We haven't seen, if Fox is around, if he's got help, and maybe the Court of Owls being a major family has those same, resources or same, connections. Cool. So I think for sure, and I kind of wanted to wait to talk about this a little bit. Maybe we'll kind of push it. Help me remember. I want to kind of talk about what you guys think of the future films will be.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, let's go back to that question. Favorite shot from the movie. Obviously, Eric said, or Ahmed said favorite shot was the gunshots. I had quite a few, but I feel like for me, one of my favorite scenes was when, and I do believe this was 100% real.
Okay.
When Pattinson goes into the Batcage and takes that note off the top.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Don't you guys think that was real? Like that, I feel like that bat was absolutely in there.
Yeah.
And they had pissed, like, even my wife's like, I wonder what they did to piss off that bat. I said probably just the strobe lights. There was all those strobe lights on it. But did you guys think that was a real scene? I feel like he really did that.
Could have been, yeah.
Especially when he's wearing the gloves and everything.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because why not? You're all protected. You're suited up. Why not?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's probably a tame, zoo animal anyways, kind of thing. So
that bat was pissed off though.
Looked agitated. Somebody's probably sitting there spraying it with a water bottle or
something. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah,
that was one of my favorite scenes, or shots. But what about the rest of you guys?
I guess I'll go around. So both visually and story-wise, the one we just mentioned earlier, when he finally, that live wire is going to hit the water, and that becomes that hero moment, and he cuts the wire. That whole thing is very powerful. But I love that overhead shot of him holding the flare, walking across the water.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it's great iconic shot. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
How about you, Jeff?
I think the police station scene where they've taken him in and him getting out, and then ends up on the roof of the police building, and I kind of wondered if he had ever used that flying suit, because he played being scared or kind of, well, here goes nothing,
I loved the fact that he was scared when he got to that height, because you just think of them just jumping off and never having any fear. I loved that.
I loved it. That was really
when he did not stick the landing.
Oh, good God! I don't know how he got up.
I seen some hate towards that scene because they were saying, do you really think he would have survived that type of land? I mean, he hit like an overpass, hit the back of a trailer or a truck or whatever it was, and then hit the ground.
Yeah.
It was a hard hit.
Yeah, I could see that. There was some leaps of faith, I think, in a few places, but also, the fact that the suit was, you take shotguns, close-up shotgun shots. I mean, that tells you that the suit is protective. But yeah, I think I would still have a hard time.
That was grounded in reality, that it was one of those flight suit things rather than some, magnetized skeleton inside the cape and space age fabric.
Yep, squirrel suit.
That's what made me want to see more of the backstory of how everything was designed, suit wise, because he was taking shotgun shots to the suit, up close. It was like,
I have a feeling
what's the suit made of?
hopefully we see that in the next film. Kind of, you know, hopefully. And I'm sorry, Chris, I know we're just absolutely encroaching in this area you wanted to push till later, but
That's all right.
Just for that one point, I think it could be a major piece is that the evolution of kind of what he's learned and now where he's going. Hopefully maybe we get to see what goes into the next suit, and therefore they reference what went into the first one and that kind of thing. You know, and his relationship with Alfred, clearly the fight, you know, he was taught to fight by Alfred, who I guess was the SAS kind of Alfred guy, you know. Maybe he's introduced him to the right people that bring the technology in for the suits and the, you know, the really cool contact lenses and everything else. So
well, clearly the team will grow.
Yeah.
Over time. And that's like, again, listening to other reviews and stuff, it irritates me because people keep forgetting that it's early on in his career.
Yeah.
It's like they want him to be this thing. And it's like, you know, they talked about, again, going back to that duality of, you know, him just kind of being one note. And it's like, well, Affleck was so much better because he was so much better of a Bruce Wayne. He understood that he needed to be a different character. But again, that's old man Batman. I mean, he's in his 40s or 50s or whatever he is in that film. And it's like, he gets it. But like, this is a 20-something 2 year out of the gate.
Right.
All of that will develop. And people keep forgetting that about this character as they watch it, I think.
Well, I got to remember, like I said, I just watched Batman Begins, and Christian Bale the actor was 4 years younger than Pattinson, you know, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, that is interesting.
In that movie, Batman's at the beginning of his career. I mean, at the very beginning, year one, once we're 1 hour in, and he has to be told by Alfred, you need to start doing rich guy stuff like buying things you don't really need and dating supermodels and stuff like that. And he actually makes a conscious effort to start doing that in that movie. So I don't know. I understand that criticism because we've seen it done a different way in Batman Begins.
True.
Oh, sorry, my dog keeps barking.
It's all right. I'm sorry, I kind of went off tangent. I think we were getting ready to.
Yeah, we're going to
Damon for your. What was your favorite shot?
I did like the hallway scene, but I think my favorite one was at the end of the car scene, him walking up to the car with it from Penguin's point of view, seeing those boots come up to him, and just I loved his walk, how he just kind of walked. I think somebody said Darth Vader, like, how he walked menacingly up to somebody, but just that perspective, seeing the Penguin's perspective, and then seeing him crouch down, almost like a "I got you" moment. I really enjoyed that scene a lot.
Was so good. And what that's kind of iconic, right? Isn't that kind of like, is that 0 year that's like that?
I think that's right from a comic as well.
Yeah, which is really impressive. It was just the cinematography on that shot. Oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. How about you, Dan?
I think the hallway scene has to be one of my favorites, just from a scene standpoint, but the cinematography and how the movie was shot. There were so many beautiful shots on top of the building where the bat signal was. Mm-hmm. I mean, just epic, one epic shot after another. The scenes with Catwoman up there were absolutely iconic. You know, it's like just complete fan service in so many ways, you know, with respect to those pieces. You know, if you're a comic fan at all, I recognized it seemed so many shots. That was really enjoyable for me in the second time around. It was feeling like I could be, without missing anything, looking for those shots. And on top of the building by the bat signal, I just thought was awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How about you, Jeff?
Nothing really stands out. Like Dan said, there were so many great shots. I do like the shot where he's approaching the Penguin. I thought that was pretty spectacular. But nothing, I don't know. It's a movie full of shots like that.
Yeah, it really, really is. It's just crazy how... I mean, I don't know. I probably need to learn the name of the cinematographer because it was just so well shot. Beautiful.
You know, one thing I wanted to mention, Chris, actually, and I was thinking about it as Jeff Morris was talking about the scene where he's beating off the cops in the police station. I thought was really cool. And I can't think of a time when Batman used his cape like that, but he used his cape defensively in that fight. Like you actually saw a use of the cape other than, you know, becoming magnetized and turning into a big wing. I thought that was really cool.
And where have we seen that before? Arkham games.
Arkham game. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he
Where he
used
uses
the Arkham game. Yeah.
the game. But then, of course, there's one scene, I can't remember where it was, where he at the top, at the end, where he's being dragged by his cape.
Oh, yeah.
My wife leans over yesterday. She goes, "No more capes." Because there's no capes, no capes from The Incredibles. Because but yeah, I thought that was really cool too. It was really cool.
But I also felt like that was kind of okay. That's a rookie mistake. Like like Batman, and when a little bit older, wouldn't let that happen.
Right.
There'd be a mechanism to fix that. But yeah.
Becky said, "Did anybody else feel like they borrowed heavily from the Arkham games? The fighting scenes felt like it could have been in the game."
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That fight in the subway, that's kind of exactly what it reminded me of, was playing the Arkham games.
Yeah.
Which is, this film, I think, unlike a lot of the other Batman films, I've heard a lot of people say, how did Warner Brothers allow this one to get made? Which I thought was true. I mean, like, it's kind of crazy because Lord knows they've been overly involved for a very long time in a lot of these films. To detriment of a lot of them, but there's so many nods to so many things that we've wanted to see for so long. I mean, what does that mean to you guys as Batman fans? Like, I mean, I think it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool.
I hope with this that they've learned their lesson to just sign a check and, let the people that know what they're doing do what they do and keep the suits off the set. And if it's a 3-hour movie, it's a 3-hour movie.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly, this film has made a lot of money opening weekend.
Yeah.
Just domestically.
Yeah.
Supposedly, there's some cutscenes that we're going to hopefully maybe get in a Blu-ray version, so it'll be even longer than 3 hours.
I'm all for that. I want to see more.
So a lot of people in the chat wants to talk about the injection, and that was one of the problems I had with the movie. To me, that was a real God in the machine moment. It's like a low point. He's pretty much incapacitated. Catwoman's about to be killed, and he pulls this syringe out of a secret compartment in his outfit, and boom, he's back up, like he's got the Bane, injection, and he's going to town on those guys. And to me, that's a moment that had to be set up, and it wasn't set up at all. Came out of nowhere. And that bothered me.
And some people have felt like it was like, oh, is that Venom? Like, could that possibly be Venom? I personally think it's just adrenaline.
I agree. That's what I thought it was too.
But how do you know that? There's no setup for that scene at all.
There isn't. And I think, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I think if you, as somebody who does walk around with an EpiPen, unfortunately in the summer, because I'm way allergic to bees, I'm familiar with EpiPens. The idea is you hit it in the leg, right? I almost think, but you have to be kind of familiar with EpiPens to understand that. That's how I thought, oh, that's what he's doing. He's hitting himself in the leg, and he's got, but probably a bigger dose of adrenaline or whatever. But I kind of took that right away. I mean, I thought it was kind of convenient, sure, but I also think it's something that if I was building the suit, that'd be maybe convenient to have, right? But I get where you're coming from, though, Jeff. But,
totally, I agree with what you're saying, but cinematically, for me, it came out of nowhere.
It did come out of nowhere,
and it was green.
And
that's the thing. That's why people thought. I think adrenaline is not green.
Yeah. I don't know. The green part threw me off, but I love the scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably not.
But some people said there might have been like a label or something. And like I paid attention last night when I watched it the second time, and I didn't see a label or anything like that. It's just so fast.
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like in a way it was meant to be out of nowhere, just because we've never seen anything like that. We've never seen Batman, and I don't even know if he's ever done that in the comics. I'm sure he probably has done something as like a last measured resort, like to just give him what he needs to get through it. But I could see both points. I could see, it's like, yeah, it was out of nowhere, but at the same time, I thought it was pretty neat because it was just like, whoa, this is crazy.
I feel like he has so there's been certain moments where I think Scarecrow drugged him, or wasn't even during the Court of Owls where he gets
well, he's like drugged, right? He's
I feel like he does.
He gets drugged when they drag him down.
Does he use anything to come out of it? I forget. I don't remember.
I can't remember. I feel like probably
like that. No,
I feel like it's been in the comics before. They're somewhere where he's he's always got these gadgets, so I'm sure he's done something like that before.
But the thing is, he doesn't really have gadgets in this movie. That's one of the differences between this movie and other Batman movies.
Well, if it's
I'm not saying we need a scene where Bruce Wayne or Batman is in the Batcave and he loads up a syringe into his costume. I'm not saying that. It could be anything. It could be him observing that happening to another character. Even that would introduce the idea of an injection reviving someone who's in a stupor or whatever. You need something so that scene doesn't come out of left field at a low point in the third act where it's like, holy moly,
Yep.
How did that happen?
And again, maybe that comes back to what we were talking about earlier about the fact that this is early on and maybe he doesn't have the person helping him with the gadgets. Maybe it's just him and Alfred and what they have is what they have. And would him having a bodyguard or a military background, would he have knowledge of adrenaline, or would the soldiers use that sort of thing?
Somebody said that in the comments, I think.
Soldiers definitely do. Did he I'm trying to think of the scene. Did they show him take it from his belt?
Yeah, it comes from the belt. Yeah.
Came from the belt, and then there was some sort of like port, I think.
Yeah, that was cool. I love the port part.
Right. But I think for me, I kept wondering at certain points during the scene, during the movie, that his belt was pretty loaded up with pockets. Like he seemed to have a lot of stuff on his belt.
Yeah.
Yep. Yet to Jeff's point, they didn't really show him use a lot of gadgets other than his grappling gun.
Right.
Yeah, but that's a great point, because I didn't really even think about that until you just said that. Like, we didn't see a lot of like, I mean, like, even if you like would have used like a smoke pellet or something like to escape, like we never like even in the police station, that would have been a great time to drop a pellet when he was rappelling up. And I said that was my only nitpick of the movie that night, is like I could try a million times to shoot that darn thing and it would never attach to anything. Batman always gets it to detach first time. Yeah, too funny.
I like the contact lenses.
To see the stairwell though going up without a smoke filter block and all that, because it was just cops and guns. And I kept thinking, damn, how did he not get shot?
Django said he did use a smoke pellet in the movie. Did he?
Well, he
threw
the fire extinguisher thing right at the end.
Yeah,
the platform.
Oh, so maybe he did.
Take from his chest, throw it at a.
But it wasn't from him. It wasn't from his utility belt. He just. I don't know. I don't even remember what he used to explode the fire extinguisher, but that's what the smoke was.
Okay, that's.
So I'll jump on the Jeff Delaney bus for a second. That's a piece that bothered me. That was way too much smoke from this single, like 2-gallon fire extinguisher that they showed there on the side of the platform. All of a sudden, the whole place is full of smoke.
Was it a fire extinguisher though? I felt like there was some like gas line. I felt like
I thought it was a pipeline.
Yeah, it looked like a pipeline.
Oh, then I'm wrong.
And he bursted it with a whatever, I forget.
Then I'm wrong, and then it makes sense.
Well, and I think we can all possibly agree that the third act was probably the weakest act of the movie. Would you guys agree with that?
What was the third? Where would you start the
it was a long third act.
It was a long third act. I guess primarily I'm talking about, for me, the third act, or the part that's the weakest for me is, and again, my opinion has changed since the second viewing, but it started more of that, Gotham Square Garden type scene. Like to me, it felt very the two ferry boats on The Dark Knight. Like it just felt like it was kind of this segue segment, but I liked it more, and I felt like it was not as long the second viewing. Again, like I don't know. I just felt like it was better the second time.
I agree,
which is weird that I felt that way. But I was like, after I'm like, okay, well, it all worked for me. Yeah. But I just feel like there were elements. I think like one of the biggest nitpicks of that scene was, okay, so there's all these snipers. They're getting ready to take everybody out. And then all of a sudden there's all these bombs on the top. Like, how did he have time to plant all those bombs, to like have them go off for him to rappel down? Like there was no time there.
That was a pretty big explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I know what you're saying, because it felt to me that they were drawing a relationship between Batman and the Riddler through the first and second acts. I mean, yes, the Riddler was killing people, but they're both going after corruption.
Right.
And some point in the third act, the Riddler extends that to the entire population of Gotham. And I didn't quite get where that clicked. Where did he get to the point where he had to cleanse the entire city rather than just the corrupt?
That's a good point. And maybe he just thought that the whole city needed to be this, like it's kind of like the same, like the League of Shadows, League of Shadows. We have to cleanse the city. We have to start over. The city can't be saved, like that, that mentality. But he never really did go there. You're right. But it's a Hollywood movie. It's got to have this big finale thing, and it's like, I don't always feel like it needs to have that.
Yeah. But it makes me ask the question. It's like,
what was that, as far as the flooding, you mean?
Yeah.
As far as
and the sharpshooters
of him.
I felt that was set up to trap them all inside of the Gotham. What was it called? Gotham Garden, whatever they called in the movie.
It was, but what Jeff's saying is that his whole MO is to get rid of the corruption. But like, what did all the people trapped in Madison Square Garden have to do with that?
Oh, you mean the rest of them that would have got hit?
Yeah, or all the people getting killed with the flooding or whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
I do think it was a cleansing thing.
All the politicians that were there.
Yeah, I felt like it was mostly politicians. I mean, it was meant to like surround that area. There was like like a TV election event going on, and it just swooped in around them and forced them into that area. So I would imagine it was like all police, politicians.
What about the flooding? That was the whole city.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You bring up a great point. I thought it was interesting too that I noticed the second time that there was if you pay attention to some of the newspaper articles and things on the walls, that they were talking about that there was no money for the dam construction or the wall construction, which I thought was interesting, because then that's what he blew up, because it was already not strong enough anyway. There's no funding or whatever. So I thought that was, I didn't know if you guys caught that. I thought that was interesting.
I'll have to look for that in the third
view. The third view. What do you guys think about I don't know, what do you think about the Falcone storyline? What did you think about that? I thought that was pretty cool.
Hung together well, how they kind of balanced out the Falcone storyline versus the Maroni storyline.
And Damon, you said something to me that either you did not like him in the role or you don't like that actor. I wasn't sure what you said.
I can't stand John Turturro. I don't like him at all. So I was glad to see him die.
Spoiler! There it is, right there. And the first viewing, I kept thinking, I kind of wonder if he's really dead or not, because like the last scene we see him, they're checking his pulse. We don't ever see anything after that, but I think he's dead. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
But we still have Maroni still alive.
We never had a glimpse of Maroni in the movie, right? Just a mention of him.
There's a newspaper or a video clip of them arresting him or something, I think. So it's very, very brief. But since he was kind of, I don't know, did you think that he was kind of framed to the point where he might be let out of prison? I don't know. Because I mean, he would be a good guy to have around for the second or third movie. He's also the guy that threw acid on Two-Face's face if they ever do Two-Face. And at least that's the way the comics were. What do you guys think?
I don't know. Would they bring the whole gangster thing back out, or are they just going to focus on the villains? I don't know, like the main villains, like the rogues.
I don't know. I feel like that's what made this so good, is that again, that mob storyline, the underbelly. But again, I feel like if you did Court of Owls,
I would like to see that. Yeah, if they did Court of Owls.
So,
yeah, I mean, if he's still alive, then anything's possible. So,
I want to give a shout out to Kevin McDougall. Thank you very much. Just became a member tonight. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your support. That's awesome. Thank you very much, and welcome to the Brotherhood of the Bat. Let's see. Beox Thompson says, with all the mob focus and family, I really hope Huntress will be in one or more of the sequels.
Oh, sure.
I agree with that. That'd be cool.
It absolutely could be. I hope it's a very different Huntress than what we got with the Harley Quinn movie. It wasn't was not very happy with that at all. But I don't know. I for me, again, it's always the mob stories that I've loved the most. And that was, very prevalent in the animated series too. You know, they had all of those mob type 1920s cars and machine guns, and I love that. So I hope they don't get rid of that, because I feel like that really set the tone for what's going on. And yes, they are going to try to clean up Gotham.
And it also set up Penguin. Penguin set up for him now to take the power. So we'll still see, mob related stuff. So with him,
that's a great point. What did you think of Salina Kyle in this film? What do you guys think?
So daughter of Falcone, which was
that was a surprise.
Yeah.
But
I was hoping, because we've seen that before. Long Halloween, of course. Year one had some of that background, so I was actually kind of hoping. And it's interesting because when they did the whole thing of like, because obviously Pattinson was jealous of like his relationship with her relationship with him. And if you saw the early photos, the early set photos, when he's arriving at the funeral, and that girl gets out of the car and he thinks it's Salina. Yeah. Well, in those early set photos, it was her.
Yeah.
She was in that scene. And so they did a swerve to the fans. I mean, I thought that was brilliant that they swerved us that way, because I leaned over to my wife and I said, that's going to be his daughter. And then it turned out to be this other lady. I'm like, oh, maybe they didn't go that route, because I really thought as soon as he said that in the club, I'm like, oh, it's got to be his daughter. And then, of course, it was revealed later that it was, which I loved. And also, I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, they very rarely showed Falcone's face on the left side, or maybe it was the right side. I can't remember whatever side it was. But under certain light, you can see that there were already scratches on his face.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
And then, of course, she scratches him again. But whenever he makes the comment, just like whenever I killed your mother.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She had scratched his face too to try to get away.
Mm.
And so now he scratches her, or she scratches him again, which I thought was awesome, because that's again just like from the comics where she scratches his face like that.
One thing I picked up the second time I didn't catch the first time, when she scratches his face, they go to a view of her fingernail, and she has like these huge nails like this long.
Yeah, that's what Ryan said. They're like these giant Lee press-on nails or something. They're very weird. But obviously they're very sharp as well. They're very different Catwoman this time around. Did you guys feel like she was pound for pound the best Catwoman on screen?
I liked her. I like this. We got a lot of story. I mean, she also helped throughout the whole movie with the story as well. So yeah, I enjoyed her.
And she had more of a background. I mean, she had definitely much more of a history to her.
I think she was the most realistic Catwoman we've had so far.
Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer is kind of unforgettable, and that was a really unique take, and everyone very memorable, but not as realistic as this.
What were you going to say, Damon?
I felt like she had more motive in this one.
Sure. I think
I'll get back at him.
I do think that she, again, is for me the best pound for pound Catwoman, but I still think the love still goes back to Michelle Pfeiffer. I mean, it's just like she's so iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, those films were just so different. I mean, the Burton verse was, Batman Returns is still one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, I love that movie. It's so dark, but it's just so different.
Yeah.
I posted a photo today in the Facebook group of, Danny DeVito and Colin Farrell as the Penguins, and like, which one do you like more? And it's like, they're so different looking, but they're both still so iconic in that verse of whatever they were in. They both still hold up for me anyway. And I feel like Catwoman's the same. It's like they're just so different in the universes they're in, but they're both so good. And I like my wife said when we watched it, she felt like out of all the Catwomen that have been on screen, they feel like that this one could literally kick your ass. I mean, she feel like she really feels like she could, beat you up a little bit. Which did you guys feel that way as well?
Yeah, she didn't care. She was going to go hurt somebody.
I could see a spin-off series or a spin-off movie for her.
I would watch it.
Yeah.
Especially because she goes off to Bloodhaven, which is, is awesome in itself. Because I don't know how often I don't know if that's ever been mentioned in a Batman movie. Has it?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Bloodhaven, of course, is where Nightwing usually goes, in the comics. So I did like that. Do you guys think that we'll see her? Do you think we'll see her back in the movies?
Yeah.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounded like she at the end, like I think she said she was disappearing for a while. She was like, "Come with me." And that's another thing too, like that whole relationship between them. Because it's an early Batman. Like you can see, he went to almost try to kiss her, and then like he realizes I can't have loved ones in my life.
Yep.
Right. And that's true. I mean, like she said, like his love is the city. I mean, it's like that's his.
Yeah.
Yeah, he chose the city.
He's already spoken for. You
Yep.
know. But I do see her back. I almost feel like she is. I mean, she's really Robin these days. I mean, really. I mean, the way that she's, it's Bat and the Cat, and that's which I like. I like them as a team. But speaking of teams, let's talk about some of the team dynamics. So obviously we had Catwoman and Batman working together, but we also had a couple other relationships. We obviously had Batman and Alfred, and also Batman and Commissioner Gordon. So I wanted to talk to you guys about those two relationships. I've heard some people say, like, for me, I loved the dynamic with Gordon and Batman, but some people have said that they feel like in this movie that Gordon couldn't do anything without Batman.
Yeah,
Did you guys get that same feeling, or let's discuss how you guys felt about the relationship with those two?
I had that feeling. There were multiple times where Gordon proposed something like a theory or asked a question, and Batman always had the answer immediately. So I thought, wow, it's no surprise to me that Gordon has kind of associated himself with Batman when no other cop has, because he kind of needs him, because he's finding all the answers that Gordon can't find himself.
Yep. How about the rest of you guys? What do you think?
Yeah, like we were saying in the first show, there was like really no relationship between Batman and Alfred, because usually Alfred's the one that's always kind of like helping him in the background and there for him. I felt like this time it was mostly used with Gordon. Gordon was like his, like you said, like a team, them two. I don't know, I felt like he was like not underused or anything. Like Jeff said, he felt Batman was maybe a better detective and respected him, and they made a good team and they worked together. I don't know.
I love the scene in the jail where he's like, all right. So he's just like, I love that. That was so cool. Like, you're going to punch me. All right.
All right.
Like, you could have pulled your punch. I did. That was I think, and again, I'm getting off topic here. I'll get back to it. But one thing I wanted to mention is that I thought that Matt Reeves did a really good job is that the movie is so heavy that putting in a few funny areas that are very lightly funny, but like thumb drive, like that was brilliant. Like little things, like you can almost, I felt like, at least in the theater I was in, like it was almost like a sigh of relief kind of, because everything's so heavy on you that like, okay, we can all laugh, but everybody laughed at the thumb drive in my theater, It's like, I don't know. I just thought that was really smart. And again, it was, little moments like that were really great. But Dan, what did you think about the relationship with Gordon and Batman?
I thought it was good. I like Jeffrey Wright as Gordon a lot. The only kind of slight question mark that it raised for me, not question mark, but, was there was a depth of relationship there that suggested they've been working together for longer than just a year to 2 years. And I wondered kind of where that came from, right? He's just become Batman, right? He's in his second year of being Batman. That their relationship suggested they've been working together forever. And
there's a lot of trust.
There's a lot of trust, and Gordon just completely leaning on Batman. It just seemed more, I would think it'd be a little bit more new than that. There'd be I would have liked to see Gordon question Batman's suggestions, question a little bit more.
I agree with that. And especially because, like, even at the beginning, like, he's like, I don't even know your name, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's like you go from that to I trust you with my everything, It's like I don't know how you go from that. So I do feel like I liked the relationship. I would like to see more of that. But I agree. I think that it's
a little much.
It's a little bit much.
Yeah. To me, that goes back to what I was saying earlier about setting it up a little bit better, like Nolan did. Because with Nolan, Gordon, as a street cop, is the one that consoles Bruce right after his parents are murdered.
True.
So that relationship happens really early. And then when he first becomes Batman, before he even has the cowl, I think he's got the suit, but not the cowl. So he wears some other kind of mask, and he goes to Gordon's apartment, and and they kind of have a moment there.
Right.
But you see the relationship building with,
and it just goes to show you Nolan's vision. I mean, the way he fleshed out those movies. I mean, I know some people don't love the third film, and obviously things had to change after Heath died. But yeah, I mean, he was smart the way he did it. I mean, he set up those relationships and those stories from the very beginning, which was great.
He really did.
I feel like there was one thing missing with the Gordon. So like they were this like they feel like a team throughout the whole movie. Like every crime scene, it was Batman and Gordon, except for the scene where Alfred accidentally accepts the package. Gordon never showed up on that scene, as well as Batman, because Batman's Bruce Wayne. So Bruce Wayne is there, but we never get Alfred in the shot. It's just like some policeman, and he actually hands the card to Bruce Wayne instead of like usually handing it to Batman or Gordon or somebody. Like like the Riddler left this clue for Batman.
Right.
I just felt weird because we always see Gordon in every other Riddler crime scene, but he was missing from that scene.
Let's talk a little bit about Alfred. What do you guys think of Alfred in the film?
Underused.
Don't you think that's intentional though?
I got that. I thought this was just my take, is that it was, I feel from this point forward that now maybe he looks at Alfred as that parent figure, whereas he didn't before, other than just a caretaker. But, there was this distance between them. So I think that comes with age. You get a little closer with your parents and start to understand where they're coming from the older you get.
True.
I feel like Dan said underused is correct, but I also feel like they were, I don't know. I just feel like they're trying to set it up for the future of what their relationship is going to be like. That they didn't have this close relationship, so why would they be hanging out together all this time? I mean, obviously,
yeah,
he has got, he was the one doing the cipher. They obviously were working together, but there was obviously tension there, and I feel like that's why they weren't using him as much as a normal Alfred. Because again, everybody said we want to see more Alfred, we want to see more of that relationship, but that was the point. I think, at least that's my opinion. I don't know.
That could be. Yeah, sounds right.
Going back to the Gordon thing, just real quick, there were a couple of times where he questioned Batman, and Batman asked him, "Do you not trust me?" or something to that effect. I remember at least once, if not twice, that came up.
It's a good point. And like some people were saying, though, it's like, well, 2 years is a long time in Gotham, and that's probably a good point. I can only imagine, and again, maybe part of that is, again, if we see flashbacks or maybe these TV shows will address some of those things. Like we'll get to see some of that history, which I'm hoping that's, Marvel's been very smart of connecting stories through those Disney Plus shows. So maybe HBO Max will do something similar.
Yeah.
Let's go on to Paula's question here. 49 super chat. Thank you very much, Paula, for that. That's so awesome. She asked, how did Joker end up in Arkham? And so that's kind of a topic that we have avoided up until now. But obviously that was a pretty big spoiler with Joker. And again, thank you very much, Paul. I really appreciate it. So obviously that scene, I do want to talk about that scene. I was very excited for that scene, but also I felt like it was very misplaced in the end of the movie. I felt like it felt kind of like it didn't belong there. Almost like to me, it should have like been an end credit scene. Yeah. Did you guys get that same feeling? Like it just kind of boom came out of nowhere?
Well, because there was more after it.
Right.
There was quite a bit of story left.
I hate the whole end credit thing. I'd rather them just put it in the movie and then have to sit there and wait for the credits to roll and see a scene. So I didn't mind it.
Well, did you see Matt Reeves talking about it in that video about that scene?
Let everybody know what he said.
Well, he felt that with that scene left out, that the Riddler's arc was incomplete.
Okay.
I believe he also said there was something cut from it where the Joker shows up early on
Well,
in the scene.
it was just whenever he goes to visit Riddler that he was like in the background or
Okay,
something.
yeah.
So Matt Reeves does think that that'll be probably released at some point. That we'll maybe see a little bit more of him. But I forgot what I was going to say.
What'd you think of the Joker? Did anybody get a good look at him? The second time I was trying to stare as hard as I could just to try to see, like, he looked like he was like full Joker, like he had like scars, and I believe I read an article, they said he was trying to make him look like he was basically born like that with some deformity or something.
Correct. And that is going back to, was it Gwynplaine? I think I never say his name right, but The Man Who Laughs or whatever that movie was from the 20s.
Right.
That movie inspired the Joker. I mean, it flat out the look. I mean, they flat out copied a still from the movie of his original look. And yeah, this is the same thing as he was this circus performer or whatever roadshow performer that he was born with this permanent smile. And that is what they're doing with this character, which I like. I think that, I mean, they haven't flat out said that this is going to be a sequel character, so it'll be interesting. I mean, obviously it would be a no-brainer to use the Joker at some point, but I don't know for sure if we'll see him yet.
Yeah, I think they said they just wanted to introduce him. They're holding on to him for a little bit. I don't think we're going to see him like in a second movie, maybe like a third movie, or just teases of him through the second movie. He kind of looked like the Sideshow premium format Pogo Joker, like his face, like with the scars, and I don't know if he had the white makeup. That was kind of hard to make out, but with the hair.
Well, people feel like he's not the Joker yet.
Again, it looked like the Arkham game.
Yeah.
Joker.
Yeah.
Wow, he looked very Jokerish to me.
I mean, well, he already is Jokerish. That's the thing, but he's not the Joker yet. Like he has. I mean, maybe he hasn't interacted with Batman yet, or maybe he has. Some people have also said it. Going back to Paula's question, is that some people have theorized that Batman is the one that put him there, and he could have already been the Joker. He could have just been this guy that's already delusional or crazy or whatever, but maybe not fully the Joker yet. And maybe he becomes that through the time he spends in Arkham. But I don't know. What do you guys think of that scene overall? I'm curious as to what you guys thought. Were you guys surprised by it? Excited by it? What did you guys feel?
Yeah.
I kind of figured it out.
Yeah. No, I was definitely surprised by it. Hearing his voice for the first time, I felt like he was just talking very normal. So I was like, is it the Joker? But then you get that laugh at the end and all the little clues, it was. I thought it was surprising. I thought it was great.
A lot of people were sure who it was at first.
I actually liked Dano's performance as
Riddler better. Right?
What Riddler did in the cell. I just thought it was so good. I thought it was excellent. I mean, Joker, it was okay. If I'm being honest, I was a little underwhelmed. But I thought Dano's performance kind of saved the scene, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I could see that.
Again, it just felt like, I don't know what to think about it. Like, I was excited, but at the same time, like, yeah, it's like, well, obviously I want to see more. And I think that was the point. It's
different. I think like any time a new actor takes over a role that we're used to seeing somebody else play, it's like kind of weird. Same thing with Pattinson as Batman. It's like kind of got to get used to it. And it's like,
but I feel like with the makeup they did for the Penguin, don't you guys have like complete confidence of what they'll do?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, let's say he's deformed. Let's say he's deformed now, and then he does get out somehow, and he has this battle, and I don't know how they would make a realistic, falling into acid or whatever. But then he's already crazy, but then he goes completely crazy, and his face is even more deformed.
It was hard to see, but he definitely looked like he had some very deep scars. Yeah. Like his face looked pretty messed up from what I could tell.
It's not an actor that I would think about with the Joker.
Nope.
That was me too. I was wondering, will this same actor carry the role if they continue it on? Because I haven't seen enough of him other than he wasn't in the Eternals a lot either. Mm-hmm. And the character didn't do a lot.
That's true.
And that was leaked earlier. People were questioning, was it the Joker? 'Cause I believe they changed his name. Like it was just some like unknown character.
Yeah, he was
A cop.
originally he was a cop.
Arkham
Yeah,
inmate
originally
or
he was a
something.
cop.
Oh yeah, cop. Yeah.
And then they changed it to just a sailmate or whatever it was.
Right.
I just want to show. Let me see where I loaded this. Hold on. Let me just see if I can get a picture of him real quick.
Some people were saying maybe he's like Mad Hatter.
Oh, well.
That would have been pretty cool.
Sorry about that, guys. It's not letting me save it. There we go. But yeah, he's a character, an actor that I wouldn't necessarily, pick, but at the same time, like the same with Heath Ledger, people didn't like the pick of him. There he is right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in Dunkirk, and I have not seen it yet, but he's in the Eternals, I believe.
Yeah, he is.
As well. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. But yeah, I thought that was still an interesting scene. And I do feel like the Riddler was better in that scene for sure. What do you think? What do you think of the Riddler in the scene where he's talking to Batman in the cell in Arkham?
Personally, that's my favorite scene of the
Yeah.
of the whole movie. Well, maybe not the whole movie, but it's one of my favorite scenes.
Awesome.
When he starts singing.
Oh my god. It was so
It's also when Batman comes to life, like Delaney was saying. Batman's very like quiet throughout the whole movie. Like that's like when he finally just like snaps and like the voice comes out. I can picture that voice in like future movies going forward now.
Do you think they're hinting at following the War of Jokes and Riddles storyline from Batman?
It's been a while since I've read that. Do you remember what kind of happens in that storyline? Is the Joker?
I haven't read it, but I saw the title and I thought, I wonder if that's what they're going to base the second movie on.
Well, I think they did say that just because they were together in that scene doesn't necessarily mean they'll team up or that won't be a thing.
Well, that's that kind of sucks because that scene implies exactly that.
Right. I mean, and that's to me is like, I don't know, my favorite stories. If you look at Long Halloween, if you look at Hush, those stories have all the bad guys.
Yep.
All of them. It's not just a Joker story. It's not just a Bane story. It is all of them. And it's throughout time. And I didn't realize when I watched it until the second time that that movie is only from Halloween to like November 4th. Yeah, it's a week.
Yeah.
Which it felt longer to me. It's like, whoa, I can't believe it's that short a time. And again, they could kind of continue on with the Long Halloween idea. It's like, well, this was December. Yep. The next movie might be Christmas. Mm-hmm. The next movie might be 4th of July. I mean, they could do something like that where it's still, these bad situations happen to Gotham at these certain times, which I think would be fine. I think that would be great to do something like that. But I think you absolutely can have a world where you could have, again, Riddler and Joker working together and other things happening. Catwoman comes in or, did you guys feel like it was overloaded with villains? I didn't at all.
Not at all.
No.
And that's been the critique of a lot of movies. Like, oh, it had too many villains. It had too many this. Like, I didn't get that feeling because, again, it was just these pockets. It wasn't, it wasn't all about the Riddler. It wasn't, it was, but it was not all about the Penguin. It was not all about the mob. I mean, it was pockets of it.
Yeah.
And
I kind of felt the Penguin was a sidekick to Falcone in this one.
Well, he was. That was the point. Yeah, that was the point.
But as far as a movie, including him in the villains, I didn't feel like he had a big villain role. I feel like he was more of a sidekick role.
Yeah, that's true.
I thought they went way out of their way, talking about how the flood was going to kind of, bring the city down into disrepair and, literally and figuratively. And you see the Penguin, they're kind of surveying, the destruction. And they clearly, to me, were setting him up. Okay, Penguin's going to make his move, fill the void that Falcone leaves and, take his shot at running the city.
Yeah, there's going to be a power struggle for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, Rise of the Penguin. I mean, it's going to be
Rise of the Penguin.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be a major baddie. But again, I feel like you could have him be a major baddie, but still not take over the show, you know, in terms of whatever other villains they might bring in.
He does need to be tweaked in some way, you know, like Joker falling into the acid in order to make him just a little bit more crazy, because he's just a mob boss here, or like a lieutenant.
Yeah.
And I think something needs to happen to escalate him.
But I mean, I feel like though in the modern comics, that's the way they portray him. I don't feel like they make him this crazy guy anymore. Do you guys? I don't know. Maybe
seems less interesting to me.
Well, yeah, for sure, less interesting. But I think that I don't know.
I certainly think you need the more colorful. If I love where Penguin is at, but I think maybe to your point, Jeff, I think that would kind of imply you need the colorful villains, right? So you need the Scarecrow with the toxin. You need Joker with all his banana stuff.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, because
that's why I don't think they'll make him a major guy.
Yeah,
like I think he'll be a major player.
Yeah,
in whatever's happening in Gotham, but I don't see him being the big spotlight character.
You think it's another Falcone?
That's what I was thinking. It's going to be like another Falcone story.
Right. Because if you watch like the Gotham TV series or you watch him or you see him in the comics, he is always fighting for power and he wants control. But at the same time, he's not those big colorful villains anymore. Like he doesn't wear the top hat and the umbrellas. I mean, you don't see that as often anymore. You might see him like carrying it around, but in most of the major new storylines, I have not seen that. So
But I think Reeves borrows from any timeline, any media, any iteration of
that's true.
Batman villains.
And I hope he evolves. I hope he, I just don't know.
Maybe we'll get that new Iceberg Lounge, because if that wasn't his, was that his club, the Iceberg Lounge, or is it considered Falcone's club? That one and the movie.
It becomes his lounge.
Take it over. Yeah. Maybe like he'll redecorate or relocate into a more comic style.
Do you know what I honestly think he'll become? I think he'll try, and again, it's borrowing from other Batman films, but I think he'll try to take control through being in the mayor.
Maybe
that would be cool.
Like I said, it's been done before, but I think that again, that would just be one more step of power where you can control whatever is going on in the city.
You know, in the chat, Chris, they're talking about Freeze. El Loco 1527 says Matt Reeves said he wanted to do Mr. Freeze. You know, Alex Thompson saying, I'm very curious to see a realistic take on Freeze. Me too. I think Freeze would be an awesome choice.
Yep, I agree.
I do too. But how can you do Freeze? And again, I would love to see it. I'm just being devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
How do you do Freeze in a realistic way? Like, how do you do a freeze gun? How do you do that side of things? And Reeves just wanting to do it alone, him saying that publicly means, okay, that could very, very well be in the works.
Yeah.
But how do you do it? Like I can see somebody like a medical experiment going wrong or his wife, doing this or whatever. But how do you do him as a villain? I mean, it would have to be a very different take, don't you think?
I do, but I could see it being done. I mean, why not?
I mean, Riddler obviously is. I mean, the Riddler that we see in this film is a very different take than what we've seen in other movies, and he's even in the games and stuff. Whereas this is much more of a Zodiac killer type. So it's a. I would love to see what they do. I can't wrap my head around how they would.
The last realistic take we had on that was that the Gotham TV series, and that Freeze ended up wasn't the greatest looking type of freeze. Like that, it's like, how do you pull off the freeze gun and all that type of stuff?
Right, and they did that. I mean, they did a freeze gun in that show, but or like even in the comics, like you freeze somebody and they're still alive in the ice. Like it's like nope, it's like. You can't, and maybe it's, I don't know. I as soon as he said that, I kept wrapping my head, like, how could they possibly do him justice with a freeze gun, which again, makes me more excited about, again, like Robert Pattinson wants the Court of Owls. Like that would be easy to do. There would be no reality issues there, but some of those other characters, like I feel like they could do Scarecrow very easy. Like you said, I don't know. What other villains would you guys like to see them tackle besides Freeze?
Yeah, Mad Hatter, Professor Pig, but that would be like another almost like what this movie just was.
Be pretty similar.
Yeah. I would love to see Scarecrow again. I don't mind that.
I could see Scarecrow. Do you think they would do a Two-Face?
Yeah, we could introduce Two-Face. Yeah.
He'd fit.
I think he would fit. Like obviously like a Man-Bat, probably not, or a Clayface.
Right.
Yeah.
But I could see them doing a Bane.
I think when they start to go with any of the kind of meta-human characters, I think they're kind of going off
Yeah.
script, no pun intended.
Yeah.
And I think
Ooh.
Freeze is probably just on the brink of that, but
Black Mask.
yeah.
I think that would be cool. Hugo Strange would be cool. You could do Hugo Strange.
Poison Ivy.
Yeah, I wonder how you would do Ivy. Maybe she injects people with something. I don't know.
And you know,
Court
the
of
other-
Owls has.
They from a box office standpoint, can you imagine if they brought Harley into it?
Well, that was the big rumor this week. I don't know if you guys saw that. I think we talked about it, but Anna Taylor-Joy, which the first thing I saw her in was that chess movie, the Queen's Gambit.
Yes. Yep.
Which I fell in love with her. I thought she did a phenomenal job. My wife and I watched it. We just absolutely loved that show.
Yep.
And I've seen her in a couple things since, and I'm like, man, she could be really cool. She has those, kind of creepy big eyes, and I just feel like she could. And I think that I don't know if they would even bring that in. Now, if Joker is involved, they could already in Arkham. They could easily bring her in, and I would love to see them tackle that storyline a little.
Or what if we do? Maybe we will get like a Riddler Joker team up. I mean, the Riddler does say what he says. The comeback story is,
The Joker tells the
Raiders.
Riddler that Gotham loves a comeback story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of possibilities. Again, I feel like my most wanted would be the Court of Owls. I just feel like that is a no-brainer. It fits in so well, but it's exciting to think of what could happen. What could happen.
That's for sure.
I don't know what other spoilers you guys want to discuss that I'm forgetting here. Oh,
Not so much. Okay.
Oh, I was just going to say, I've actually remembered one. So the other thing I've seen this week, and I don't know if you guys noticed or you guys feel it would be true or not, but there's the guy when Bruce is walking into the funeral, and the guy's talking about the rich. Okay. And there's a lot of people in the internet world that, well, number one, I think that is the same guy that was the Riddler villain at the end.
Okay. Yes.
That whenever he pummels them with the adrenaline, he takes the mask off. I think it's the exact same guy.
Okay.
Also, there's been a lot of speculation and rumor, innuendo that the people think that he is Joe Chill.
Why?
When he realizes that it's Bruce, when they say his name, his demeanor changes. Then Bruce is whisked away. There's just a lot of people that think that could be Joe Chill, and then Batman almost kills him at the end. So I don't know. I thought that was an interesting take. It could easily be a possibility, and he doesn't even realize who he is.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. That he was shot with adrenaline. He was throwing punches before he even saw who it was.
Right, but I mean, I don't even know if he knows who he was, other than the fact that it was somebody that Cohn hired, or was on. What they say, he was on Maroni's payroll in the. I don't know. Oh, we didn't talk about that either. That the photographer was Tommy Elliott's dad.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that is an interesting take too of a possibility of a Hush.
Oh my God, can you imagine that?
I absolutely can.
Awesome.
And it would fit.
Yep.
I mean, it already has that storytelling element, and they did tease it with that Hush slide.
Yeah,
Hush money.
did. Yep.
And Hush is, if I remember the story correctly, he's controlled by Riddler pretty much, right? Like
Yep.
Riddler was like the mastermind behind the whole thing.
Riddler was the mastermind. Yep.
so they can
So
bring
I mean,
back the Riddler.
You can continue this storyline now if the Riddler gets out, or even pulling strings behind in Arkham.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
So I thought that would be cool. So again, there's just lots of little things that could happen, or whether it's this Joe Chill thing is true or not. Do you guys think it's true? Do you think that's just fan trying something happen?
Yeah, I've heard that too. I would have to go back and look at it. I heard, like you said, it was the same guy. I don't know, but yeah, that'd be cool. I could see them coming back with like Court of Owls. Maybe introduce Talon, but not have him like throughout the whole movie. We don't need like a whole villain of Talon through the whole thing. And then bring back do like a Hush story with like Riddler kind of like masterminding the whole thing. That'd be pretty cool. Like
Elijah Hush was the Riddler in the animated version. So that's a lot of people did think that in this movie we might see that him become Hush because of the way they did that movie. But I don't know. All right, what else you got? Sorry, I interrupted you guys with the Tommy Elliott thing.
No, not so much a spoiler, but I don't know if we brought it up. Like one of the things I loved about the movie was like what do you call it? The what the hell was it called now? The voiceover work throughout the movie of like hearing Bruce's voice explaining everything. It really felt like you're like reading a comic book.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
Really neat. One Face Box, we actually talked about this earlier, and I personally don't think that he'll grow up to be Robin because he's not an orphan.
Not yet.
Not yet. I know. We'll see. And the person watching him at the beginning as a ninja, that was the Riddler. Some people think it's Batman watching it, but that was a
little confusing. Yeah. So
that was a little confusing.
They both had we call it the binoculars. It was the same scene, kind of.
It was the duality part of the Riddler and the Batman. So Riddler was doing it at the beginning. Batman was doing it where she was spying on Salina.
Not too.
I thought it was a little
far
empty,
after that.
but I thought that's like, I don't know. But yeah, that was a duality thing. So and you could hear his breathing at the beginning too, or it's the Riddler. So anyway, I don't personally think it'll be Robin, but who knows? We'll see. Time will tell.
I did have a question.
Yes.
Those of you guys who have seen it twice, at the very end, the newscaster was talking about on the TV about a new masked vigilante. Did anybody hear that? That there was a new masked vigilante seen throughout Gotham?
I think I missed that.
No, I didn't see that. I
don't know where was that out of the movie? Was it after?
It was at the very end, after he had rescued everybody. And I could have misunderstood it, but I thought it was, she had mentioned about a new masked somebody going through Gotham.
Huh. I might have missed it. I don't know. Does it ring a bell to any of you guys?
No.
Third viewing. Something to look out for. Yeah. Take note.
Well, and I could have been I had the bathroom on my mind at that point so much anyway. I could have been hearing a lot of things.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Oh, say Mario says what? I did hear that.
I said
I don't know.
Not hear that.
I don't know. Interesting. Well, I guess we'll have to see it a third or fourth time.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff we missed for sure. But again, I'm going to put it over to you guys. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else we haven't discussed?
What did you think as Pattinson as Batman?
I liked him. Again, I feel like, yes, he was one note, and I could see where that would, tick some people off here and there, but I do think it was intentional. I do want to see more, but just like as the Batman, I loved him as the Batman. I mean, more than I did Bruce Wayne.
I like every time he shows up to the Iceberg Lounge. So the first time he shows up, he's Batman. They don't want to let him in. Second time he shows up, he's Bruce Wayne. They let him in. And then the third time he sneaks in as Bruce Wayne, but then he changes into Batman while he's inside the club. It's pretty cool.
That made people mad too, is that he knocked.
Yeah,
why would Batman knock and not just go in there?
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. I also
thought it was funny.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool to see like him working as Bruce Wayne, like he was like cutting open the electric box and stuff.
But I liked him. What about the rest of you guys? Did you guys like him as in the role?
I did.
I thought he was perfect. I thought he fit really well.
I was surprised. I mean, it didn't upset me. I'm like I've said many times. I remember when people were trying to figure out why they cast Mr. Mom as Batman.
Yeah.
So
people just don't have any faith. I mean, it's just like, have faith. Hollywood is like, okay, well, we're going to cast Heath Ledger, the teenage guy who's fantastic. Mr. Mom. I mean, it's like all of these stories where people like trash these actors, and like then like they always eat their words.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
And the only, like, again, like, people will trash Leto's Joker, but again, he didn't get a chance.
I've seen a lot of people complain about Zoe Kravitz only getting the part because Jason Momoa is like her stepfather or something. I really liked her on Big Little Lies on HBO.
Yep.
I don't know that I've seen her in other things, but she was really good in that.
I thought she was fantastic.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of this where people say he's too skinny, but like, I don't know. I thought he looked, especially like when he was walking in the suit, like he looked wide. I thought he looked good. Yeah. He had his shirt off in that one scene. I thought he looked pretty ripped to me. And again, he's a young man. He's 20 years old.
That scene also shows his back to show like there were no scars yet on his back. He's
he did have scars.
Oh, he did have scars?
He did. There was a couple times they showed him. I love the scars. Like the scars were fantastic.
I must have missed it.
Beck says, "What do you think of the Nirvanas being used in the movie?" Thought it set the tone.
I didn't mind it at all. Yeah, I think it did help set the tone.
Yep.
Yeah, I loved it. And that sound that was the bridge song. I can't think of the name of it. But I think that song is all about homeless or orphans or something along that line. So I thought it felt very appropriate in the tone. And he even Matt Reeves said, I listened to music as I write, and I was listening to Nirvana, as I was writing that, and it just fit. So
yeah, we were talking about the score of the first show, and I was saying like what was so spectacular about it. I don't really remember much of it. So the second viewing, I was really paying attention to all the music, and we didn't have many songs. It was just like a lot of like creepy sound effects, though, like these screeching sounds. It was just super like creepy and like disturbing. It really just set the tone nicely.
It's awesome.
So who's getting the Prime 1 Blitzway statue PO on Thursday?
Well, I very well might. I really like the Jim Lee version that you've ordered, Dan. I think the thing that's going to set it up for me is obviously we're going to get the full reveal finally on the new Blitzway piece. I think the head sculpt looks fantastic. But one of my favorite parts of the one that you've ordered is that sculpted cape.
Yep.
Just the way it's designed, the way it looks, and this will be a fabric cape. So I don't know. I think I will order one of them. I'm just not sure which one.
For me, if the base, and I don't know what they could do with the pose, but if it's different enough, I will get them both.
Oh, nice.
I will keep my PO on the Jim Lee. I'm not giving that up. I just love that statue. I just think it looks phenomenal. I love all three portraits are great. The sculpt cape, I completely agree. So if they do something interesting, and I don't know what that could be, it could be Batmobile related, it could be Bat Signal related. I don't know. I have to believe they're doing something somewhat different with it, where they're releasing two of these in 1/3.
Pretty crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, and the portrait to me just isn't enough. I mean, if I had to choose, I think I'd choose the Jim Lee, but that's, I know it's a subjective thing.
Well, there's a lot more bells and whistles with the Jim Lee, I would assume.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 head sculpts versus 2.
Yep.
I don't know. Anybody else thinking about that, collecting those? I mean, I think probably if anybody it'd probably be Jeff Morris.
I don't know. I want more of, I want a better pose than what they've done with everything else, because there's a lot of just standing there.
Yeah.
Oh, Paula's giving me a hard time.
They don't seem to do much base to it.
Paul is awesome.
Now, here's what we really need to do. I mean, we're always enabling each other, but you know who we have not enabled yet? We have not enabled Damon.
Damon. He needs his first 1/3.
We need to get your first statue, Damon.
Yep.
No pressure.
No.
Well, I
You
keep,
got a
I
super
keep having
chat,
somebody
too.
trying to coax me whenever we go to the Comic-Con in Kansas City. Somebody's always in my ear trying to buy one.
Who would that be?
Yeah, right?
Oh, I almost
So-
bought one the last time.
That's right. I'll keep working on David, and we'll see if we can do something because we have Planet Comic-Con coming up real shortly, so that'll be a lot of fun. Fatal the Collector, thank you very much. $1.99 super chat, and also a member here on the channel. Speaking of faith, Jesus was mentioned 20 plus times. Was he?
Really?
I think it was Jim Gordon said Jesus a lot.
Oh, maybe so.
Derogatorily.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. That's very cool. Thank you very much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Architecture of Gotham. We haven't really talked about that. Like, did you guys like the look and feel of Gotham?
Loved it.
It was
Yeah, you-
raining the whole entire movie, right?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Most of it.
Very Jim Lee-ish of all that rain.
Don't you feel like it was the most Gotham of all the movies? Like what I picture Gotham would be, like just that level, or at least maybe it's more of a reflection of society right now, maybe of you know, the way modern times are. It's not as fantasy.
I mean, it's basically New York City at nighttime, but where it was filmed in Chicago.
Chicago. I think it was like 5 different cities.
I mean, I'm used to seeing it. It's like I said, you go into Manhattan at nighttime. That's what it feels like. You're in Gotham City. It's disgusting. It's scary. You got to be careful where you walk. So.
Yeah, I love that interior was crazy. That Wayne Manor, or not the Wayne Manor, the tower.
Tower, yeah.
Yeah, really beautiful, really crazy. He said, do you think the movie portrayed Gotham in the best way? I think the Joker movie was slightly better.
Very similar, but 2 different eras. Like the Joker was like what, like the 80s or something like that.
The 80s. I feel like the Joker City was more colorful in the shots, the cinematography, whereas this was very, very dark. I mean,
Joker City it was all daytime shots for the first and second act, and then you got in the third act it all went dark.
Yeah.
Whereas this was all dark.
Yeah. I don't know. I love the city in this one. I thought it was very, very good and very realistic. I mean, I just feel like it fit the movie.
I felt like the shots that I was referring to earlier on where with the bat signal, I felt like it was interesting to me that the most colorful shots, and they repeated it too a few times, were the shots at dusk with the sun going down, and they were really this bright, beautiful, sunsets. That was interesting.
Yeah.
It was almost like what it said to me. It was almost like a metaphor for ushering in, the time of Batman. Like it's almost Batman time.
Yeah.
That's true.
We talked about it a little bit the other night, but where do you guys put this one on your list?
Oh God. Well, I'll answer because I answered it in the Facebook group for George. George Robb posted in the group, and it forced my hand a little bit. There's a couple of ways to answer that, right? So in terms for a quintessential Batman movie, I felt like this may be it. In terms of watchability, like what movie am I more likely to watch over and over again? And we talked about this on Rogues the other night.
Yeah.
And Eric talked about this. For me, Batman Begins is my go-to Batman movie. I love Begins.
Were you surprised by how much love people showed that movie in that poll?
I really was.
I was too.
I haven't seen that. I think it was the first time seeing that. And
right. I was shocked. I'm like, where's all this Batman Begins love coming from?
Yep. Even it's felt like even more than Dark Knight.
Right.
Which was really surprising. But I think I have to, for that reason, probably put this 2 on my list. But if I had to pick, if someone said, what's the quintessential Batman movie? To me, this is probably it. And I only hesitate because of Jeff Delaney's point about the origin. It just seems like the origin has to play a big part in any quintessential Batman movie. But
that's what's so great about Begins. It explains like everything to you.
Everything. I love origin movies. So that's
I want to hear from everybody else, but I do want to answer this. When they keep talking about the Jim Lee statue, do they mean the Hush Batcave? No. They're doing whenever they had DC Fandom back, was it 2 years ago or whatever it was, year and a half or whatever, they had a Jim Lee drawing of Robert Pattinson's Batman. And so Prime One made a art version, a Jim Lee art edition, where you have 2 comic book head sculpts. The body's a little wider than Pattinson is. Beautiful base, sculpted cape. There's also a fabric cape edition, but then there's a 3rd Pattinson head sculpt. So that's the one Dan has ordered. And then they're also going to come out with a Pattinson Batman that's done by Prime One and Blitzway. So there'll be 2 different versions. I think the Blitzway will probably be more accurate suit-wise and portraits-wise. But obviously, the other one is just going to be more of an art tribute from Jim Lee. So.
And those 2 comic book portraits are excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I kind of think of it more as a character design piece than, just a movie piece.
Yeah.
Right. And you just look, again, that sculpted cape is just, I love it.
It's awesome.
It's so awesome. It's like a character of itself.
Yep.
As people have, that was another thing I wanted to mention earlier, is a lot of people have said that the Batmobile is like a character. It's like a living, breathing animal in that movie.
It's cool.
And I agree with that. I could see that. What are you gonna say, Damon?
Like Christine.
Yeah. It felt alive. It was very cool. How about the rest of you guys with the Batman? Like, where do you put this one up with your favorite Batman movies?
Yeah, I'm gonna compare it to the same things, like the watchability versus the style. Like, so the Batman, this newest one, is my favorite version of Batman, the character. Yeah. Just because it reminds me of like like the animated series or like the Arkham games. And then followed by Batman Begins. I think I watched it again last year for like the first time in 10 years, and I forgot how great that movie was, and it was like became my favorite of the we call it the Nolan trilogy. So Begins, the Batman, and can't leave out the Michael Keaton 89 Batman. That's always one of my favorites. Those are my top 3. I don't know how I would put them in order because, like I said, it's different between how much you want to watch it and how much you just like the style of the movie.
Yeah. How about you, Damon? Where do you put it up there in your top list?
Well, I agree with you definitely. This is my favorite Batman just because it was a detective Batman.
Yeah.
That's just my favorite, that he was a detective. But I love the Nolan trilogy so much. And then my other one would have been the very first Batman, just because I have so many memories from when I was younger.
So Damon and I watched Dark Knight Rises in IMAX together, and that was very memorable. I remember, but it was just it's so cool to hear you guys say that this is like your favorite Batman. Like, that's pretty awesome.
Yep,
it's pretty awesome.
One of the things that was great about Begins is Bale's voice is so much better in that movie. I don't know what happened in the 2 after that, but he changed the way he speaks as Batman. I didn't like it in the last 2 movies that he did.
Begins is very sentimental to me because I was always a Batman fan growing up. But, I grew up and, music was really important to me and other things, my career and jobs or whatever. And, I just got away from it. And it was, my wife kicks herself all the time because she's the one that kickstarted my love for Batman again, because we were staying in a hotel room when we were, I don't know, we might've been engaged or dating. I can't remember, but she bought me Batman Begins. And I'm like, what is this? And she's like, I was like, I know you like Batman, so I bought this for you. And so we watched it on a little portable DVD player in the hotel room. That's where I first watched it. I didn't even know it was out. Like, I didn't even know that was, I mean, obviously it had been in the theaters, and like, that tells you how out of the loop I was. But that kickstarted my love of Batman again and me becoming the BSC. So she always kicks herself like, oh, I shouldn't have ever given you that DVD, which I think is pretty funny. But anyway, Jeff, where do you put it?
I put it 3rd behind Begins and Dark Knight.
Nice. Very good. Jeff Morris, did you already say?
I kind of agree with what everybody else said, but I felt like it was pretty much almost perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I when I think of the Christian Bale movies, I tend to think of all three of them as one big movie, but Begins is the strongest of the three, I think, from beginning to end. It's up there. It's a close tie for number one.
It's surprising for me to hear you guys put it above Dark Knight, because Dark Knight is like so key to your collections.
Well, I haven't gone yet.
Yes, please.
I know Chris's answer.
You in the top left. Go ahead.
You know, that's I mean, for me, Dark Knight is number one. But that it lies solely on Heath Ledger's performance. I keep thinking that if you took Heath Ledger out of that role, if you took Joker out of that movie, it would not be up there for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's his performance that puts it above everything else. So for me, Dark Knight is still number one. If it comes to watchability, my favorite Batman movie is Batman Returns.
Yeah,
I could watch that movie a million times. It's so dark, and it's just, you know, Michelle Pfeiffer, Danny DeVito. Like, I love that film. So for me, it's always been at the very top. Although I don't know if I would rank it as my favorite Batman, you know, movie, or, you know, it's just for watchability, it's up there. So like for me, I have like Dark Knight. I would probably put this movie, The Batman, second. I would probably put Batman Begins third, and then Batman Returns fourth. But again, just for watchability, I'd put Batman Returns above all of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just, I don't know. For a long time, it was 89. Like 89 was the movie. Like I could watch that a million times, but then I realized how much, for me, it's how much better Returns is.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the Batman I grew up with too. So it was like, you know, I have such a connection to Keaton's Batman world and that Burton verse. But again, this film is so dark and so long, it does make it hard to watch over and over again.
Right.
But
it's the beginning of hopefully something great moving forward. I think we're gonna get some great movies.
Right, absolutely. But I do feel like it absolutely is 1-2 somewhere up there for me. And it even cemented it even more after watching it again a second time. But again, rewatchability is, I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
For sure.
It also cemented that we're going to continue to get an awful lot of Batman statues.
Yeah. So let's end on that. Let's end on Batman statues. So Dan already brought it up, and some of us are maybe going to get. Now you do have the Batfleck.
I do.
Jeff Delaney, would you consider this piece adding it to that? I mean, because I know that's a big prized possession in your collection.
You know what? I need to see this movie again.
Okay.
But so far, he is not my Batman.
Fair enough. Is Batfleck your Batman?
That's a really good question.
Who is your Batman?
Who is your Batman?
I think I'm not sure I've seen the perfect Batman yet. To me, the Batman is the one from the comics that I grew up reading. I wish I had.
I was going to say specifically Batman versus Superman, right? Like that particular version of him, not Justice League.
Well, you know what? I wanted to like this movie more than I do, and I'm annoyed that I didn't get the emotional pull that I usually get from Batman. I mean, even Lego Batman has him taking his big lobster microwave and then going over to the family portrait and having a weepy moment.
That's true.
No, and that worked for me. I got that. So I'm annoyed that I don't get that from this movie, and I want to like it more. So I'm going to see it again.
Lego Batman is a great Batman.
It is a great Batman.
It is a good Batman. But I don't know who my
Kevin Conroy, one of the best, by the way. We want to give him some love too.
That's a very good choice.
Probably pound for pound, the best Batman there is.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, by the way, Damon, he's going to be at Comic-Con.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
That's
pretty
cool.
awesome.
Sorry,
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jeff.
No, I'm done. I don't have a favorite Batman at this point. I liked that Fleck a lot. Thought he was really good. I would have liked to have seen him in another movie.
You will. It sounds like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yep, you will. You'll see him in the Flash.
Yeah, but I mean a Batman movie.
Yeah, just without everybody else. Right?
Well, and I still have hope that we'll see him in the HBO Max show. Like, I still think there's room for that. I think that if they're still going to do different universes, which clearly they are, why could you still not have a mini series with him and Deathstroke and some of those characters? I think it'd be awesome. I don't think they're going to do it at this point, but I would love to see it.
I just don't think he wants to do it.
Probably not.
Didn't sound like it.
So going back to the statues, in this movie, who else do you think they'll make?
Catwoman, for sure.
Yeah.
I think she would sell very well. Although, again, there's not a lot of bells and whistles with that character. I mean, there's, she's got that plain suit. She does have the mask with the. Did you guys like how that had the little pointy ears in the hood of her mask? Did you guys notice that?
Yeah.
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 It was the only Catwoman-y thing going on, but that was it. Gave you the feel.
And
It was a cool take on that.
I just don't know how that would work as a statue. Like, would I buy that as a statue? I don't know.
Like I said, it's a little. I mean, some of those characters just as statues seem like they could be kind of boring.
Yeah, I agree. Riddler would be more interesting, I think. But
I agree. I'm going to give you guys in the audience a little spoiler, but
dun, dun, dun.
Play the music.
dun 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 dun.
I wish that they'd done the roll of tape holding the tape.
Right, the roll of tape right there. So, yeah, this is McFarlane Toys that I went on a toy hunt today. You'll see the video tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, this could make it kind of an interesting statue. Basically, what this is.
It could.
But yeah, Catwoman, I'm not so sure. I mean, I think they'll do her. I think this movie's made so much money already that they're going to want to make merch. They're going to want to make statues.
Yeah.
Is there a Penguin one already?
Penguin? Notoriously, no. There's no penguins ever.
No.
There's only one company that's made a penguin, and it's a samurai penguin for the samurai line that I have up here. But yeah, no penguin yet. But I don't know. Do you guys think they would make a penguin from this movie? I don't know. I feel like it's kind of
probably not.
There's not enough bells and whistles for these characters.
They didn't make one for the Arkham line, and I can't. There are a lot of fans for the Arkham line.
Yeah.
Built-in buyer base, and they still didn't make them.
But I do think that going back, we've had this conversation before, that I think because of this film, we're going to see penguins and Riddlers in comic book form, for sure. Just because of the popularity of the movie.
Jumpstarts it.
Yeah. I think 100% we'll see some of those. So we'll see. And Bex is saying I've seen merchandise left and right, and that's why I went on the toy hunt. I went out into Walmart and Target and filmed the entire experience of just all the stuff that's out there. And oh my gosh, there's a lot of merch.
Yep.
I think we'll see Hot Toys of Catwoman and Riddler for sure.
Yeah, I think especially Hot Toys will do all that.
For sure. Yep.
That would be a no-brainer. But I would consider a Zoe Kravitz Catwoman statue. Or even if what would you think if they did some of her looks, like with the wigs and stuff? Like, there was some, I don't know. Again, it's just not very Catwoman.
Yeah, exactly.
Switch out wigs.
Yeah, switch out wigs. I don't know. I could see Hot Toys doing that.
I could see J&D doing an unmasked Catwoman.
Yeah, I could see that. That makes sense. Yep.
Yeah, I guarantee you'll see stuff from them. I think they might actually do all the characters.
I think Prom One and Blitzwig will probably do a Zoe Kravitz.
I could see them doing those.
She's so pretty.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
unmasked version.
Yeah, she was gorgeous in that film.
Yeah, and she puts on the the black patent leather skin tight suit at one point in the movie with the boots and all that. That's pretty Catwoman-y.
It is pretty Catwoman-y. You're right.
Yeah,
you're very right. Yeah, the cats with the holding a glass of milk, because she did drink that milk in the movie. That was a nice touch. Yeah, that was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Well, we've gone 2 hours, guys. I apologize for keeping you guys so long. I really thought it would probably be an hour tonight, but as my wife, I told my wife that, and she just laughs at me. She's like, "Yeah, right." It's like you really believe that, don't you? I'm like, "Yeah, I do." But anyway, I think we can all agree that this film, to some level, was incredible. It might not have met every expectation, but it was still, a beautiful cinematic vision of bringing the comic books to life for the first time, really, in a lot of ways.
Yep.
And so I'm very optimistic. I'm very excited about the TV shows and what they do with these movies. But I also am excited too that they're going to maybe continue bits and pieces of Batman in the Flash and Batgirl and other places, that we can still have some of those fantasy elements. Because like that's what my wife said. She's like, it was so realistic that you do kind of miss some of those fantasy elements a little bit. Like I don't like, you know, I know I'm not like a big Justice League guy. Like I don't like Superman and Batman and a Flash. Like I just like Batman in that universe. I've always said that, but I do appreciate those films. It's just not what I prefer. But I still am glad that we have some of those other options, that we can still see some of that outside of this universe, because it used to be just like, you know, this would be all Warner Brothers would focus on. And now we get little bits and pieces to try to, you know, make everybody happy. So I do like that a little bit. But
I wonder what a Matt Reeves Superman movie would be like.
Ooh, that could be incredible and very dark. You thought Batman versus Superman was dark. Like that's been the thing. It's like everybody, you know, trashes Snyder for what he's done, but like this is way darker than that even.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting. I would love to see him. I would love to see it. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. I think Matt Reeves is going to get a few jobs because of this movie. What do you think?
Just a couple.
Yeah, just a couple.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate it. Again, if you haven't done so, please hit the like button. We will be back not this Wednesday, but the next Wednesday after that will be our live auction show. So hopefully all the fellas have started putting some stuff together and thinking about what they might want to. I'm assuming like this guy is going to pull out some amazing obscure covers would be my guess. This guy right over that angle will probably have some statues and some great books that with CGCs, I'm sure. But anyway, definitely tune in. We'd love to have you join us. I want to thank Damon for coming on tonight. I really appreciate you coming on. Hopefully you'll come on again in the future. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, it'd be awesome. And again, just thank you guys. If you have seen the film, you know, please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I'd love to continue to read those. And again, just thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you soon right here in the Batcave. Good night, everybody.
See you guys.
Good night,
guys. For watching.
See you next time.